I had another dream last night.
Was it a good one, or was it about me?
It was about a poor wise man who changes the city.
Debbie Hall's dream gave birth to the best-selling book, The Same Kind of Different as Me. It also began the friendship between the two men who wrote it, her husband, Ron, a wealthy art dealer, and Denver Moore, a homeless man. They met at a Texas shelter.
My wife showed me Christ-like forgiveness a few years before that for having an affair, and she threw my sin as far as the east is from the west, never to bring it up again. Just like Christ forgives our sins, she erased it out off the blackboard of her life and memory. And so I told her for that forgiveness, I would do anything she asked the rest of our lives together. Wow. And she had asked me to do nothing except be faithful and back in the church and serve and tithe and all the kind of things that we're supposed to be doing as believers. I was always waiting for the shoe to fall, and then one day she asked me to be friends with a crazy homeless man who threatened to kill everybody.
That's a big ask.
What about him?
He can be dangerous.
Hi. What's your name?
You don't need to know my name.
Well, I'd like to know your name. We have to talk to him.
I don't understand what's going on here.
That's a man from my dream.
You'd be doing me a big favor and just being nicer.
You want to be my friend?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm going to have to think about that.
It's a miracle story and a major motion picture with an Academy Award-winning cast.
Renee, you played Debbie.
Yes.
What is it about her that allowed her to forgive her husband, first of all, and then send him chasing after a homeless man? What about it?
That's a question I would love to have been able to ask her myself. And in reading the book and in talking to her husband, Ron Hall, what I gather is she was a good person, just inherently good, and she had faith, and she wanted to commit her life to making a difference in other people's lives. And boy, did she.
Yeah. I imagine that touched you personally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it does make you ask yourself, okay, what am I doing?
I couldn't understand why I never could see where he went. I think God was giving me a lesson about me, he's Debbie.
Jamin, you played Denver. Do you think he's the hero in this story?
I think Debbie's the hero. Debbie brings us, together. Debbie brings the human touch out of us. I mean, for Ron, obviously.
What touched you most about Denver's character?
When you look at where he came from, what, the challenges, in life, sort of like he was faced with life. And despite all that, the wisdom that comes through his outlook on life, unconditional love that he has for humanity, that comes out literally after, sort of like Ron Hall sort of breaks the ice, breaks the, that connection. It's beautiful to see, and it's very, he's quite a tough character to portray.
God put every stars in heaven and even gave every one of them a name. If one was gonna fall from the sky, that was up to him too.
Denver's wisdom comes from many real-life challenges. Most are unimaginable.
The short version is he was crazy. He was an ex-con. He had been on the streets for 25 years. Wow. He did not read or write. He'd never been to school a day in his life. And the most tragic thing, when he was just a young, innocent 16-year-old boy back on a plantation in Louisiana, one day he was helping a white woman change a flat tire when all of a sudden 3 Klansmen come out of the woods on horseback and accused him of bothering a white lady. They put a noose around his neck and dragged him behind a horse and told him never again speak to a white person and never again look a white woman in the eye. He was 62 years old on the day that I first laid eyes on him. Wow. And he had kept that promise from the time he was 16.
Wow. And here you have this white woman essentially.
And you have this white woman that's getting in his face and forcing him to look her in the eye.
What you reading? It's a book of stories, poetry. I used to read to you when you were little. You never liked it much.
Greg, you play Ron. I see he makes a cameo in the film. I've had a chance to meet and talk to him, so I know you have as well. What was it about him that you gleaned that you wanted to make sure you brought to this role?
I think just how much Debbie, his wife, and Denver, how much he learned from them, how much they changed him. This is a guy who was very insulated and kind of guy who's looking to seek forgiveness through writing a check for his wife's cause, all those kind of go-to touchstones of the human kind of selfish behavior. He's the first to say he's a flawed person, but I can tell through this movie how deeply affected he was, not only by her, but his relationship with Denver and that passion for trying to, for needing to get that story out.
I worried I was so different from other people, but what I found out was everybody's different. Same kind of different as me.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Los Angeles.